blue notes, that's a mobby pass. More chops than karate class. I can hear the blues when the shotty blast. The whole block blowing horns, that's that Jackson jazz. Swinging blue notes, that's a mobby pass. More chops than karate class. I can hear the blues when the shotty blast. The whole block blowing horns, that's that Jackson jazz.
I told you guys, man, we coming with it, man. We nonstop. Yo, what's going on? This is episode, I want to say 15 of Factorz TV. I'm your host today, VI. Really can't be here, so I'm going to be holding it down. You know, we got to keep the show rolling. Just wanted to say I hope everybody's having a good week. Try to make the best of it, man, because I know it gets tough, man. I know everybody's going through trying times, but luckily the spring's here. Weather's changing. It's a little bit warmer. Tomorrow's going to be 72. I know you're going to have your hoochie shorts on. I know it's going to be, a good feeling, but it's still cold, y'all. Just, wait for it to warm up a little more. But today we're going to go over, a few things, talk about a few things. If there's ever a topic you want to hear, you can hit me on my Instagram at LOOP.GANG206. Facebook, Ronnel Moore. I'm always banned, though, for 30 days. So, but shoot me, any ideas, inbox me. Let me know everything you want to talk about. Here in Converge Media every week, we address, what we think is important and, what you guys want to hear, too. I wanted to start this show off by sending our condolences to downtown Sacramento. There was a shooting, I believe it was after a club or event in the downtown area. 6 dead, 10 injured, and I believe they have some brothers in custody for the shooting. But I want to send my condolences to them because it's hard enough going through the pandemic. It's hard enough trusting other people with your health and safety. And a lot of times it's out of everybody's control, whether it be the police, whether it be a club owner, whether it be promoters, whether it be family or friends. Those 10 people who are injured and 6 who died didn't go out downtown to hang out with plans of being shot. So condolences to them. It's like, every time you can't believe something happens, something else happens. Every time you're like, it couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. So, condolences to the family, friends, everybody mourning, to the city of Sacramento. I have family there. I've had family reunions there. And I know, there's turmoil in the city and then there's, love in the city. So hopefully they can come together for the love that they share between each other because it's very much needed right now. I want to talk about the safe spaces for black men pertaining to Will Smith. It just came out that Jada Pinkett said that she wished Will didn't slap Chris Rock during, the Oscars. We spoke on that last week. And it just seems like she's throwing him under the bus instead of standing by her man, as he did, as he, quote unquote, protecting her, as all the ladies are raving about. It seems very narcissistic to say that, instead of either keeping a hush or, speaking up for your husband and representing him like he represents you. And it's just like, who's protecting Will? And my homeboy Reese has a podcast, shout out to Reese, and they spoke on that. And it's like, who's protecting Will at this point? There's been many instances that's been, seen over the internet that's gone viral where Will's been embarrassed, he's been chastised, he's been downplayed, he's been belittled. He's had to hold himself together and quote unquote be a man, and not, express any feelings or emotions, because that's what's, a lot of people deem as a man. And no one's protecting him. No one's protecting his career. No one's protecting his mental, his emotions. Psychologically, he could be going through a lot. And it's like, who's protecting Will? Who's there for Will? And, I just want to give a shout out to him because it just sucks, he has to hold a certain standard, and he didn't do that by slapping Chris Rock, but with his household and his marriage, he has to hold a certain standard. He's already voiced that he doesn't believe in, getting divorced, but it's like, hey, at some point you got to protect your own self. He's losing Netflix deals. Well, he's not losing deals, but they're postponing them. They're pausing production on a Netflix movie. They're pausing production on another movie and on a TV show, So it's just like, who's protecting Will? Who's looking out for Will and who's keeping him safe? I think it's unfair that he's the only one in the spotlight, and for Jada to say that, she wished she didn't slap him, but she didn't stop him. You know, she didn't stop him. Like I said, the queen always protects the king, because the king has to step out of line, the whole kingdom could go down. You know, if a king has to move off his chair, then it's dire. Then it's, you know, immediate. Then it's a real situation. So when he went to get up for that chair, she should have grabbed him. No, honey, it's okay. You know, let's not jeopardize, you know, our $500 million, you know, estate, you know, our established careers. As far as Will Smith goes, he's an A+ celebrity. He's been the most bankable actor the past however so years, you know. So I think it's important that we start protecting men also. You know, there's guidelines in place, there's rules in place, you know, but who's protecting the man? You know, who's looking out for him? So I just feel bad because Will Smith is like, nobody's looking out for him. His daughter, his son, his wife, you know, who's really protecting him and who's guiding him? You know, he could be a 50-some-year-old superstar. You still need help. You still need somebody in your ear saying, don't do this, or hey, watch out. You can never get too comfortable, you know, and he doesn't have that, and that sucks. So, you know, I just want to speak on that because it's just terrible, you know, that he's basically fending for himself, and he's spending his life catering to others, serving others, protecting others, providing for others, and right now he's alone, you know, and that sucks. So, you know, I want to speak on that because no one's protecting Will. It's like, who's looking out for him? And I can honestly say I don't think anybody is, you know, including his wife, who should. It's, you know, it's not fair. You know, it's not fair to him at all. Switching subjects, I wanted to talk about the war in Ukraine and racism, how it's a universal thing. The Peace Corps put out a piece asking for people to come help, saying, hey, if you have free time, if you have the willingness, the desire to want to help, not only fight the war, but rescue people, work at food banks, work at shelters, help people out, come help. Side note, you may be called a nigger. You may be called a monkey, you know, and they're, you know, disguising it, well, that's, you know, what people know you as over there. And it's just like, okay, it's not just an American thing. It might be amplified by America and projected, but for you to honestly ask somebody to come help us and say, hey, you might be disrespected and belittled and put down and, you know, just done wrong, but come help these people, it's just dead wrong, and it shouldn't go that way. And I just wanted to shine light on that because racism isn't just an American thing. And it's not just white people against blacks or Chinese against blacks. We see every time something happens, black people are shunned. Just like when Corona came out in China and black people were left out and being called names and kicked out. And Ukraine, they left them during the war. They left them at bus stations, even ones with kids in the cold. I believe 3 to 5 people died out there. Black people died. There's always been a mistreatment of us worldwide. So it's not just a U.S. thing. You know, we live here, so it's big to us here. But that just goes to show the Peace Corps putting out SOS sign, you know, come help us out. We need help. But you got to be willing to be called a nigger or a monkey. It's just not right, you know. And I don't believe that we should feel bad if we don't go help. Because, you know, who's to say, hey, come help, you know, come provide your undivided attention, time, effort, energy, and just take the disrespect, you know, because you're working for the greater good. That's not how life works. And if anybody knows that, it's black people. You can do the best job ever. Doesn't mean anybody's going to give you respect. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean they're going to treat you right, you know. So I don't think that's right that they're expecting us, or even putting it out there, even if they don't expect it. If you have to, you know, double back with the come out with a, hey, just be wary, they might, you know, call you names. Who does that? And who's going to come out to that? Who even expects somebody to come out to that? Who would want somebody to come be disrespected? You know, that's not right. So I suggest everybody stand your ground, mind your business. You know, there's no reason to go, you know, step in and say you're going to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped eventually, you know, because you're calling somebody's names. You really don't need their help. You know, picture handing a loaf of bread to a mother and kids, and she says, thank you, Negro or nigga, or her son goes, oh, the monkey. Like, how degrading is it? You know, is that? It's not right. So I suggest you guys not go help do anything. Mind your business and stay black. You know, that's it. Recently, on a episode of I Am Athlete with, you know, a couple former football players Chad Johnson's on there. Channing, Brandon Marshall, a few people are on there. I can't think of their names right now. Fred, and they spoke on Russell Wilson and Ciara, and they were talking, well, one of them called him a square, and that's the reason why he's with Ciara, and I do agree with that. I do believe with that. I believe that, but he said if he didn't have money, she wouldn't look this way. And a lot of women were upset online about that, but that women have to understand, women set the culture. And it's not men, he called him a square, but it's not men who set that precedent. Men were comfortable with being who they are. Women are the one who, would call a man like that a square if he didn't have money. There's plenty of women who we know who've passed up on good men because they weren't, their type, the rough type, quote unquote, the thug type, the, whoever else. So he was kind of misguided saying it because he's a square himself, and they pull receipts. Twitter wore his butt out. It was so funny. But it's true. If Russell Wilson wasn't an NFL star who had money, she would never looked his way. Not at all. And that goes for many. I know plenty of men who are in tech, who just work, conservative jobs, who are just regular dudes, and it's hard for them to get a woman because, they want somebody who's rough, who's damaged, ultimately, but a lot of women aren't being truthful about, that. They're making it seem like, oh, guys are just hating on Russell Wilson, and it has nothing to do with him. It's the fake depiction that women are putting out that that's the guy that they want, because every woman's passed up on a man who might have been great for them, but he might have not have been tall enough or in shape or talked a certain way or dressed a certain way. Ciara would have never looked at Russell Wilson with the Hawaiian shirt on. Not a chance, So I wanted to speak on that because it's just a double standard. Like the truth when it comes to stuff like that is overshadowed by feelings, and I feel like, and I think, and it just is what it is coming from a man, and many men who will tell you they've been passed up or seen men get passed up because they didn't dress a certain way, didn't walk a certain way, talk a certain way. So when you speak on the Russell Wilson Ciara situation, also address that she stepped out of her comfort zone and that she also did something that she usually, wouldn't do when it came to Russell Wilson. On top of him having money and being an NFL star, she did something she came from Future to mess with him. And she messed with 50 Cent and Courtney Bow Wow. So, she has a track record herself. But the fact is that she stepped out of her comfort zone and tried something new. A lot of women won't do that. They want the guy who's had the hard life, tough upbringing, rogue outlook to wake up and say, hey, I'm going to do better and be something I don't know how to be that I've never had to be. And that's just not how it works. So that needs to be spoken on, and I'm speaking on it because you can never tell women what you want or what you expect, but they can tell you what a man is and what he should be and what you guys think, and that's just not how it goes. If you want, the input of what men think, then ask a man. And dude saying that he was a square, he wasn't right saying it, but he's not telling, no lies. He's telling the truth. And that is what it is. He has money, he has power. It's easier to attract, at least get her in and say, hey, this is me. As far as a dude with no money, she's not looking his way. No star power, she's not checking for him, and a lot of ladies can attest to that even if they won't, We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some more topics before we end this episode. See you in a minute.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us. Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Yo, right back to it. Welcome back. We on Converge Media, Factorz TV. kicking these topics, talking about, a couple of things as we do every week. I want to talk about black men and podcasts. There is a hellacious movement against black men having podcasts. Basically, they want us to shut up. What we say is not valid. We shouldn't have feelings and emotions. And that just goes back to an earlier subject I spoke about earlier, and things I speak about often. What's safe for a black man? Where's our safe space? We've already, been decades of black men explaining, they can't be themselves. They can't be open, can't be emotional. They can't, speak up about how they feel because it's deemed not manly. And then the podcasts come along and we can talk about it, and you can, empty it and you can let it out, and then it's like, oh my God, you're doing too much. Oh no, not another black man on a podcast. Like if you get on Twitter, it's hellacious. If you get on Twitter, it's, but it's also everywhere, where you see it. And I don't think that's right. Black men are one of the most highest men amongst suicide rates. And it goes, and if you ask a lot of people who either attempted suicide or have those thoughts, it's because they can't be themselves. They can't express, things. There's been points in my life where I've, been shamed, for, things I thought were normal and felt was normal, but they weren't, deemed manly. I wasn't being a man. I wasn't, being who they wanted me to be. And it's like, where's my safe space? Where's my space where I can be open, be me? I don't have to uphold this image. I don't have to be tough or strong. And it's like, who protects us? And that's another thing I was just speaking to somebody about, all day on the internet, not another podcast. Oh man, but who listens to men? When's the last time you asked a man how he felt? What he was going through. Like I've spoken this before, there's so many shelters in men and women's, spaces in the country. And I believe there was one at the time, maybe there's 3 now. There's 3 men's shelter in the country. There's not many hotlines for us. There's not many, dedicated programs to helping men, because for, as long as remember, being a man was, grinning and bearing it, taking the brunt of the punch and rolling with the punches. And to a certain extent, I understand that. And then, you have to let somebody, deflate. You have to let them, decompress. You have to let them speak their mind and, be who they're going to be and who they want to be. And it's just, somebody has to protect us. Somebody has to speak up for us. And it can't be us. It can't be men. It can't be black men because, we'll be deemed, so many things. It has to be a woman, a black woman. She has to speak up for us. Somebody has to speak up for us and say, hey, let him talk. Let them have their podcast. Let them speak on certain things. Let them open up. Who's going to do that for us? There's so many things, to protect women in place, or, so many movements saying, hey, we must protect women, especially black women. Who's going to do that for the man? I think it's unfair that, so many men have found, outlets, hobbies, certain ways to express themselves, whether it's podcasts, audio, video, and, for people to downplay it, it's just like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Like anything we do is going to be, called something, labeled something. It's going to knock off manly points. It's just, it's just messed up. So I want everybody to take time and, ask, somebody, how they're doing. A man, how's he doing? Anything he needs. Can you help him with anything? How's he feeling? Get into it. Make it a safe space for him as well, not just yourself. So I wanted to speak on that because I've been seeing it all over, and it's just like, not only do I have a podcast, but I'm a black man, and there's not many places I can go to talk. I could go to get counseling, and I've had counseling, and I know black men who have, but that's not the only outlet. Outside of that office, on that chair, you want to be able to talk about things and be yourself outside of there too, and not just when it benefits from somebody else or when you're agreeing or going along. You want to express who you are. So give a black man a space to do that today, whether it's in the house, in the car, at the job site. Give them a chance to be who they are. Seriously. I wanted to give a shout out to Donte Staley. She's a coach, a black coach, and she coaches college basketball. I believe it's North Carolina or one of those Carolinas. I vaguely remember. Sorry, but she just won her 2nd national championship. She made news earlier for being the highest paid college coach, black coach, in college basketball. I believe it was like $22 million or something, which isn't a lot compared to a lot of other coaches. But she also beat Gino of UConn, stopped his undefeated streak, and that's just real big because she was a hell of a player and she turned a hell of a coach. It's not many people who can do that, play the game well and then coach the game well. And she doesn't have a lot of players that were coveted, that were top ranked coming out of high school. She really molded her team and made her team believe who they are and pushing them believe in themselves. So I'm gonna give a shout out to her because she just won second national title, which is it's not easy to do the first. It's not easy to get to the Final Four, the Elite Eight, the Sweet 16, none of that. So much respect to her, much props to her. Always been a fan of hers since I was young, watching her play to now she's coaching, and she she still hasn't stopped showing us greatness, showing us how it's done. She was on the sideline in a $5,000 Louis Vuitton coat, man. She was stunned, man, but she took home that W, and I think that's real big for not only women's college hoops, but men's sports just itself. She's showing you can get it done. You don't need a big school with big resources, even have a big contract. She did that, and she's getting paid, but there's a lot of coaches who are getting paid more who aren't as good as her. So she really did that. I want to give a shout out to her because that's dope, man. Black women doing great things every day, and she's one of the ones who just showed us you can do it and you can make it happen if you believe in yourself. And she's done that since she was a player, man. So shout out to her. What else we gonna speak about? Oh yeah, I just wanted to close it out. We were having this debate on Instagram. And it's it's a section on your story where you can share things, and then it's a section called Close Friends. And it's cool to be in the Close Friends, but we just wanted to say, stop sending us stuff that you can send to the regular story. Close Friends, if you're not sending any nice videos or pictures or something you want anybody to see, then just leave it alone. It makes no sense. Like, I'm over the Close Friends thing, and you send me a reel that I can see on World Star Hip Hop. Get that out of here, bro. Like, nobody wants to see that. Nobody cares. Send me something that you want us to see. Like, that's not a close friend. That's just some universal stuff. And we don't need that. Close friends are made for close friends. And your secret's safe with me, so go ahead and send it over. We were talking about laughing because everybody was rolling. But seriously, somebody made a post. And it was like, why got me a close friend sending me boring stuff? You can send that to the general post. Keep that in general post. Don't waste my space, in my personal, place, and send me BS. Send me the good stuff. I want to see the good stuff. We was having hoots. We was hooting and hollering earlier talking about that because that's hilarious. It's true, though. It's like, close friends. You see the green circle around here, like, oh, man, let me open this. Meme talking about a dog. Like, get the hell out of here and just tag me in the post. Don't send that to my close friends. Like, send me some stuff that I can't tell nobody about. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to give a shout out to Sky Blue. Of course, I got the hat on, the sweater on. They imitate life, such is life, and they always show love. Want to give a shout out to what was it? Thatch Wynn. He's a big real estate agent from here, millionaire. A lot of people follow his Instagram. I know him personally. Since I was a kid, and now you see Thatch riding around in a Phantom, Bentley. He saw my grandma's house when I was a child, and when I was a child, he put up to my grandma's house in a Honda, and he put up to her house in a '79 Coupe de Ville, canary yellow and gold D's, and just to see his evolution and who he is, and he's still giving game. Like, I know somebody who got approved for $200,000 for a home loan and sent them to him, and he got up to $400,000. He has resources, he's smart, and he's always down to share game. He's not withholding the game, and that's what's wrong with a lot of things in life. A lot of people aren't willing to pass it on. They want you to struggle. They want you to feel, I had to get out the mud. That's not a good sentiment to pass on. You got to pass on, generational thoughts, generational wealth, generational healing, generational moves. If you got a way somebody could, take advantage and, move forward, you should always do that. And a lot of people don't. So I want to give a shout out to Thatch because he's also one call away. I can call him and talk to him. When he sees me, he stops. He talks. There's people in his position who don't do that. That's real big to me because, that's affected myself, which could affect the community. If you have any questions, can reach out to him. And I bet you'll talk to him, you'll get an answer because he's a down-to-earth person. Like, he'll pull up on you in a $400,000 car and, talk to you like You know, you got the friends off the street. So shout out to Thats, man. Thats win. I'm gonna wrap this episode up. I'm gonna give a shout out to Really. You know, next week we'll be back at it, but I just had to come hold it down. It's episode 15. 15, right? Oh yeah, 15, baby. So next week be 16. I'll see you then. Shout out to my dude, man. Sal holding it down, man. That's my guy, you know. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. This is Factorz TV. VI, I'm out of here.
When the blue notes, that's a mobby pass. More chops than karate class. I can hear the blues when the shotty blast. The whole block blowing horns, that's that Jackson jazz. When the blue notes, that's a mobby pass. More chops than karate class. I can hear the blues when the shotty blast. The whole block blowing horns, that's that Jackson jazz.
I told you guys, man, we coming with it, man.